my wife told me with full authority, "You will be the photographer at my sister's wedding. For free. It's family." I didn't argue. I just said, "All right, whatever you say." But what my wife didn't know was that I had already decided exactly how this was going to play out, and she wasn't going to like it. I'm 35, been married to my wife Danielle for 7 years. We have 2 kids together, a mortgage that keeps me up at night, and what I thought was a decent marriage. I'm not a professional photographer. Let me make that crystal clear right now. I took a photography course in college, bought a nice camera about 4 years ago because I wanted to document our family vacations, and somehow that translated in my wife's family's mind to he's basically a wedding photographer. This story actually starts about 8 months before the wedding, when Danielle's younger sister Brooke got engaged to her boyfriend Tyler. I've never been Tyler's biggest fan. He's one of those guys who peaked in high school, still talks about his football days, and somehow landed a decent sales job that he brags about constantly despite making less than me. But whatever, he makes Brooke happy, so I kept my mouth shut. The first mention of me being the photographer came casually over dinner at my mother-in-law Patricia's house. We were all sitting around the table, me, Danielle, our kids, Brooke, Tyler, and Patricia, when Brooke suddenly said, "Oh," and we figured out the photography situation. I didn't even look up from my plate. "Yeah? Who'd you go with?" Brooke laughed. "You silly." I set my fork down. "Excuse me." Danielle jumped in immediately. "We talked about this, remember? You're so talented with the camera, and it would save Brooke and Tyler so much money." I absolutely did not remember talking about this. "Danielle, I take pictures of our kids at the park. I'm not a wedding photographer." Patricia waved her hand dismissively. "Oh, stop being modest. Those pictures you took at Christmas were beautiful. You have a gift." I looked around the table, waiting for someone to crack a smile and tell me this was a joke. Nobody did. "A wedding is completely different," I said carefully. "You need backup equipment, proper lighting knowledge, editing software, experience with formal events. I have none of that." Tyler leaned back in his chair. "Bro, it's not that deep. Just point and shoot. We're not asking for Annie Leibovitz here." I felt my jaw tighten. "Then hire someone who just points and shoots. There are plenty of budget photographers." The table went quiet. Brooke's eyes started to water, which was her signature move whenever she didn't get her way. Patricia shot me a look that could curdle milk. Danielle grabbed my hand under the table and squeezed it hard. Her signal for "shut up right now." "We'll discuss this at home," Danielle said through a tight smile. And discuss it we did. For 3 hours. "You're embarrassing me in front of my family," Danielle said the moment our bedroom door closed. "I'm embarrassing you?" They volunteered me for a massive responsibility without even asking me first. It's family. That's what family does. Family asks. Family doesn't tell. She crossed her arms. "You're being selfish. Do you know how much wedding photographers cost? We'd be helping them save thousands of dollars. And if I mess up? If the photos come out terrible? Then what? You won't mess up. You're good at this." "I'm not, Danielle. I'm really, genuinely not." This argument circled for weeks. Every family dinner became an opportunity for passive-aggressive comments. Patricia kept bringing up how some people don't understand the meaning of family. Brooke would sigh heavily whenever I walked into a room. Tyler just smirked at me like he knew something I didn't. But here's the thing that really pushed me over the edge. About 4 months before the wedding, I was helping Danielle clean out the garage when I found a box of old photos. I was flipping through them absent-mindedly when I noticed something. A photo of Danielle and some guy I didn't recognize, looking very cozy at what appeared to be a party. I held it up. "Who's this?" Danielle glanced over, and I watched her face change. Just for a second. Just enough. "Oh, that's nobody. Just an old friend from college. You two look pretty close for just friends." She snatched the photo from my hand. "It was a long time ago. Before us. Why are you being weird about it?" I let it go. But I didn't forget. Over the next few weeks, I started noticing things. Danielle was more protective of her phone than usual. She'd angle the screen away from me when texting. She started working late more often. And every time I brought up anything even slightly uncomfortable, she'd deflect and turn it around on me. Then came the conversation that changed everything. I came home early one day, meeting got canceled, and heard Danielle on the phone in our bedroom. The door was cracked open just enough for me to hear. I know, she was saying. "It's just complicated right now. He's being difficult about the whole wedding thing." Pause. "No, he doesn't suspect anything. He's clueless, honestly." Pause. "I miss you too." We'll figure it out after Brooke's wedding. I promise. My heart stopped. I stood there in the hallway, not breathing, not moving, just existing in this sudden new reality where my wife was apparently having some kind of affair and discussing it while I was supposedly at work. I didn't confront her. I know that sounds weak, but I needed to think. I needed to plan. Because if I had learned anything from 7 years of marriage, it was that Danielle was smarter than me when it came to manipulation. If I came at her without proof, she'd twist it around somehow. So I waited. I watched. I gathered information. And I decided that the wedding would be my moment. Update 1: the next 3 months were the hardest of my life. I had to pretend everything was normal while quietly documenting every suspicious behavior. Danielle's late nights. Her sudden girls' trips that she'd never taken before. The way she'd shower immediately after coming home from these outings. I hired a private investigator. I know, it sounds dramatic. But I needed to know for sure before I blew up my entire life. The PI's report came back 2 weeks before the wedding. His name was Kevin, the guy from the photo. Apparently they'd reconnected about a year ago through social media, and things had escalated from there. The PI had photos of them together at restaurants, hotels, even at his apartment. The thing that really gutted me? One of the hotel visits was on our anniversary. The night Danielle told me she had a work emergency and couldn't make our dinner reservation. I sat with that information for days. I thought about confronting her immediately. I thought about divorce papers. I thought about a lot of things. But then I remembered the wedding. The wedding she had forced me into photographing. The wedding where her entire family would be gathered, where everyone had spent months making me feel like garbage for not wanting to participate. And I had an idea. Update 2: the day of the wedding arrived. It was a Saturday in early October, beautiful weather, outdoor ceremony at some vineyard Patricia had insisted on. I woke up that morning and went through my normal routine, shower, breakfast, kissed the kids goodbye as my mother came to watch them. Danielle was already in full preparation mode, wearing her bridesmaid dress, fussing with her hair. She barely looked at me. "You have the camera, right?" she asked. "Got it. And you charged the batteries?" "Handled. Don't forget to get shots of the ceremony, the first dance, the cake cutting." "Danielle," I said calmly. "I've got it. Relax." She studied my face for a moment, maybe sensing something was off, but then her phone buzzed and she was gone, mentally already at the venue. What she didn't know was that I had removed the batteries from my camera the night before. The camera would turn on briefly with the residual charge, just enough to look functional, but it wouldn't actually work. I arrived at the venue looking the part. Nice shirt, camera bag over my shoulder, professional expression. Patricia actually smiled at me for the first time in months. "There's our photographer," she said. "Now don't you mess this up for Brooke." "Wouldn't dream of it," I said. The ceremony was beautiful. I walked around with my camera, pretending to take photos. I'd lift it, frame a shot, press the button, and nothing would happen. But I played it perfectly. Not like I got a great shot. I'd move to a new angle. I'd look serious and focused. Meanwhile, I ate the appetizers. I drank the champagne. I chatted with distant relatives I'd never see again. I actually had a wonderful time. Danielle checked on me once during the reception. "Getting good shots?" "Amazing shots," I said. "The lighting is perfect." She kissed my cheek, probably out of obligation, and disappeared back to her bridesmaid duties. Tyler caught me at the bar later. "Hey man, make sure you get some good ones of me giving my speech, all right?" "Absolutely. You'll look incredible." He grinned and walked away, never suspecting a thing. Update 3: the wedding ended around 11 p.m. I drove home, helped relieve my mother from babysitting duty, and went to bed. Danielle came home about an hour later, tipsy and happy. "That was such a beautiful wedding," she said, crawling into bed next to me. "Thank you for doing the photos. I know you didn't want to, but it really meant a lot to my family." "Happy to help," I said. The next morning, Brooke called. I was sitting at the kitchen table with my coffee when Danielle answered. "Hey Brooke, how's the newly married woman feeling?" Danielle put it on speaker, presumably so I could hear the praise coming my way. "Amazing. We're about to head to the airport, but I wanted to ask about the photos. When do you think we can see them?" Danielle looked at me expectantly. I took a long sip of my coffee. "Yeah, about that," I said. "There are no photos." Silence on the line. Danielle's face went through about 6 emotions in 2 seconds. "What do you mean there are no photos?" "The camera didn't have batteries. Never took a single shot." Brooke's voice came through the speaker, sharp and rising. "What? How is that possible? Technology. It's unpredictable. Danielle stared at me, and I watched the realization dawn on her face. The color drained away. Her mouth opened, then closed. You did this on purpose, she whispered. Did what on purpose? You told me to be the photographer. I was the photographer. You never specified I had to actually take photos. Brooke was crying now. This can't be happening. This can't be happening. All our memories. Tyler grabbed the phone in the background. Are you kidding me right now? You ruined our wedding because you were too lazy to check your equipment. I guess you should have hired a professional, I said. Someone who actually wanted the job. Danielle hung up the phone and turned to me with absolute fury in her eyes. Why would you do this? Why would you hurt my sister like this? I set down my coffee cup. Why would you sleep with Kevin? Her entire body went rigid. The color that had drained from her face didn't come back. That's right, I said. I know about Kevin. I know about the hotel rooms, the dinners, the phone calls. I know about our anniversary, Danielle. Our anniversary. She opened her mouth to deny it. I could see the lie forming, but I cut her off. I have photos. I have records. I have a PI's report that would make your mother faint. She sat down heavily in the chair across from me. How long have you known? Long enough to decide I wasn't going to do a single favor for this family ever again. Final update: the fallout was nuclear. And I don't say that lightly. Brooke and Tyler's honeymoon was apparently miserable. They spent most of it fighting about the photos, about me, about whether Tyler should handle the situation when they got back. Their marriage lasted exactly 4 months before Tyler filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences and family drama. Patricia tried to sue me. Actually tried to take me to court for destruction of property or something ridiculous. Her lawyer told her she had no case since I was never paid, never signed a contract, and technically didn't destroy anything. She still hasn't spoken to me since, which I consider a gift. Danielle and I divorced. The process took about 8 months. She tried to fight me on custody, on assets, on everything. But when my lawyer presented the evidence of her affair, her legal strategy crumbled. I got 50-50 custody of our kids, the house, and my dignity. As for Kevin, Danielle moved in with him about 3 weeks after our separation was finalized. Last I heard, they broke up after 6 months when she found out he was also cheating on her with his ex-wife. I've been single for about a year now. My kids are adjusting. Some days are harder than others. But every morning I wake up in a house that's mine, drink coffee that I made for myself, and live a life that I actually chose. Brooke eventually apologized to me, called me about 6 months after her divorce was finalized. Said she understood now why I did what I did, that she'd been so caught up in her wedding fantasy that she never considered I might have reasons beyond laziness. I told her I appreciated the apology, but wasn't interested in rebuilding that bridge just yet. Maybe someday. Maybe not. The only thing I regret is that I didn't speak up sooner. I let myself be bulldozed by that family for years, and it took finding out about the affair to finally give me the backbone to push back. I shouldn't have needed that. I should have just said no. But if I'm being honest with myself, really, truly honest, watching Danielle's face when she realized what I had done, watching her understand, in real time, that her perfect wedding gift to her sister had crumbled because she had underestimated me, that moment was worth every single passive-aggressive dinner I ever sat through. Edit 1. Some people are asking why I didn't just refuse to do the wedding photography outright. I tried. Multiple times. But Danielle and her family had this way of making me feel like the bad guy for having boundaries. After 7 years of that conditioning, the path of least resistance was always just going along with whatever they wanted. The affair discovery was what finally broke that pattern. Edit 2. To everyone asking about the kids, they don't know the full story. They know mommy and daddy aren't together anymore, and they know it's not their fault. When they're older, if they ask, I'll tell them an age-appropriate version. But I'm not going to poison them against their mother. That's not who I want to be. Edit 3. A few people have pointed out that Brooke and Tyler are also victims in this situation, and that's fair. They lost their wedding photos because of a conflict between me and Danielle. I've thought about that a lot. Ultimately, I decided that my self-respect was more important than documenting a wedding I was forced into participating in. Maybe that makes me selfish. I can live with that.